Welcome back everybody to another GB Studios tutorial on this Code Peterson channel of YouTube. We are moving right along through this Zelda top-down style game that we're making for the original Game Boy. And we made our main level. We made a level where we go and get a power-up which allows us to throw a hammer. Last tutorial we had our key level where we have an enemy you have to defeat before you can enter through the passageway, and then we have an enemy patrolling around a key that you can destroy. Then we have a key that you can pick up. So that's kind of where we're at today as we kind of focus over here on this enemy level a little bit. Now a few things here. In our last tutorial we did switch this little icon over here which shows where our main character enters a level when going through this trigger of the passageway, and you'll notice it has that little arrow, so we would face that direction. Well, real quickly, I'm just going to change these other ones so that our character is facing the correct way when entering through that door. So right here, I'll click on that, and then on this enter area over here, I'll push the left arrow so the character faces the left. Okay, then I'll click in here again, and then on this one the character is going to face down. On this one the character is going to face up, and on this one the character is going to face right, which means over here the character is going to face left. Up here the character is going to face up, and down here the character is going to face down. And here in the main level it doesn't really matter. Just this is where we start the game. So I actually don't mind if the character here is facing down, just so we see the front of our character when the game actually starts. I don't want to select that. I want to select down right here. All right. And now we're ready for this level here. So first item that we want to do, and if you remember when last time we made it to where when we pick up a key, we set a variable that we called key, we set it to true. And at the very start of the game, when I click up here, on the start of the game, we have the key set to false. So that means right at the start of the game, our key value is false. It doesn't become true until we collide our character with this key sprite. We can use that over here for this doorway. So this trigger that we put over here, we have on enter, it says enter enemy level. So what we can do is we can actually add an event, and we can say if variable is true, and then in here we'll click this drop down and we'll find where we have our key variable, and then we can change this scene here. We can put that in here. So if the key value is true, then we can enter in that level. Now what's going to happen if that isn't the case? We can click this. Oftentimes people will accidentally click this one down here for the else, because by default it's collapsed. But you can actually, you have to click on the arrow next to else. I make that mistake all the time where I don't. And then if I click on add an event, what's going to happen if the value is false? Well, we could go display dialog. We'll say you need a key to enter. All right, we'll save this here and we'll press play. We'll try this out just to make sure that works. So come up here and grab our hammer real quick. Real quick, we'll go over here to the start. You need a key to enter. All right, so what that means is we need to come over here. We have our little blob trying to protect that key. All right, now we can come over here and we can enter into this area, and we can still pass through there, you know, because it is that key variable is a global variable that travels with us throughout all of our levels. Nice. All right. Now, what we'll do next, I thought in here we could put some enemies that are in here. These will be the same kind of slime enemies as this one. So I might actually just copy this one here. And I am going to use Control V, like Control C is your shortcut for copy. I guess I didn't say that out loud, and then Control V, and then it asks me where I want to paste the object, and I'll paste it right there. And when that's selected in there, then the nice thing about that is you can see it copies this, what happens when I run into it, um, what happens when it collides with a group 3 item, which is our hammer that we're throwing. It deactivates. On the update, however, we are going to uh, clear this script because I want this character to move a little bit differently, just to, kind of show something different in here. With this enemy selected, we can go over here onto on update, and we will add an event. And this one in here, we are going to try to find for store actor position in variables. Want to do that. And it asks us what we want to call these variables. And this is okay if these are local variables because this is only going to happen in this enemy level right here. So in here, we have local variable 0, and it's listed on there twice. So here, what I'll do is I can leave it on local variable 0, but I'll click the pencil here, and I will call this enemy X. And then over here on the right hand side, I'm going to select local 1 because I don't want it to be X, and I'll call this one by clicking the pencil enemy Y. All right, so on update, it's always going to be storing this actor's position by these coordinates. All right, then we can copy this event by clicking that arrow, and then we'll go back up here and we'll go paste event after. And then on this one, we are going to select in the drop-down menu player. And for the X, we'll click the drop-down menu and we'll select local 2, and we will rename that one to player X. And then over here, we will select local 3, and we will call that one player Y. So you've probably kind of already figured out where we're going with this in this with this method here. Okay, so once that's done on update, then we can go down here to add event. And we are looking for compare variable, or if variable compare with variable. All right, so that brings us this little snippet of code here. And the one that we'll start with is we'll go with X. So we'll say like if player X, for example, in comparison, and we will say is less than enemy X, then what's going to happen? We can click in here and we will go actor move relative. So this is moving the actor in reference to where it is at right now. So we will select actor, and then we'll go X of -1. Make sure that's on there. There we go. We can copy this event just by clicking that arrow again, go and copy event, and then clicking this arrow again. And when we go to paste event after, then it adds another one down here. But then this one is going to be if instead of less than, we're going to go greater than. And then instead of, it's actually just easier, I think, if I click the up arrow instead of trying to type -1 in there and all that. So this one will be 1. It's going to move in the positive direction. All right, and then we'll go up here and we will copy event and we'll paste event after. Scroll down, and then this one, instead of player X, we are going to select player Y. And then down here, we're going to compare it to enemy Y. And then we'll move this X to 0 here. And then this time we are going to use -1 for the Y. We can copy this one more time. Copy event, paste event after. And then let's go down here. And then this one will be +1. I have my greater than, and up here I have greater than also, so this one I need to move to less than. There we go. We'll click save here. So we have a greater than, it moves 1. We have a less than, it moves -1. We have a greater than, it moves 1. We have a less than, it moves -1. And let's see what happens. Up here, grab the hammer. All right, and when we move over here, now we have this slime creature that is now following us one move at a time, which is pretty cool. So that's good on there. Our hammer went right through it, unfortunately. So if I select in my enemy level here, and I can see that right now, this hammer has to collide with a group 2 object. Click save, and then these other levels that have a character in there for that to collide is the same. So I should click down here on the boss level and select collision group 2 there so we don't run into that problem next time down the road. All right, now we'll try this one more time. Make sure everything works. All right, cool. We won, so we could go also in here, check to make sure when we run into it, it goes to game over, and it does. All right, finally, the very last thing that I think would be cool to do would be with these characters here. So we hit this creature, and it comes into collision with group 3, which is our hammer, and it disappears. Let's add an event, and let's add one more variable. I think it's under variable increment. There we go. Variable increment by 1. It's asking us what variable we want to change. We'll click the drop down, and this is going to be a global variable. So we'll add variable 2 under the global, and we will rename this one enemies. Copy that event, and I can go over here and We can paste event after, and then over here we can paste event after. I thought for our final boss level, we can only enter in when we have a certain amount of enemies defeated. And we'll do most of that in our next tutorial. But for this one, we will add one last thing to this. And this is going to be something we'll add to each of these levels again. Add an event, and we'll search for button, attach script to button. And this is going to be the start button. And what happens, we are going to display dialogue. So this will kind of be like a little pause menu. A display dialogue, game paused, and then I will go enemies destroyed, and then down here on line 3, we will put in a $sign, and then we are looking for, we'll type in enemies, that's the name of it, and then when we click on it, it'll replace it with the $sign on. If we copy that event by clicking that arrow there, then we can go here and we can paste event before or after, it doesn't really matter. I might just go before for right here. On here, we'll paste event before. Up here, drop down and paste event before. Paste event before. Try this again. I press return, it says 0 enemies destroyed. All right, we go up here, grab a hammer. All right, so on here, it's not showing our enemy destroyed on there. So let's double check this on here. And I can see what I did here. I got in kind of a rush. I just duplicated that destroy enemy. So actually what I need to do is I need to make sure I copy the right variable. So when I select my original one, I can go over here to increment enemies by 1. Let's copy that event, and then we'll come over here and then paste event after. Okay, and by 1. And here it says deactivate self. Paste event after. Always the troubleshooting. Zero enemies. We'll grab this hammer and get this one, press return, destroyed 1, okay. Go in here, enemies destroyed 2. Destroyed 3, so it still counts it even after that, it's good. And enemies destroyed 4. Very cool. So if you wanted to, you could copy this one here and you could have multiple enemies that, and if you copy it and paste it after you've done at this point, then you don't have to redo any of that code. It'll remember all those other scripts that we placed in there. But there we have it. We made it to where the key opens this up. If we try to go through the door and we don't have the key, then it lets us know we need a key to enter. And then in here we have a different enemy that's moving around, and then we have some way to keep track of the enemies that we are stopping. So I appreciate you watching this. Let me know if there's other things you want. Like, I kind of have an idea in my mind what direction I want to go with this game, but if you have other ideas that you want incorporated into this and you want to see how to do it, just let me know in the comments. I appreciate you watching, and we'll get you on the next tutorial.